I'm Manila Chan. You are tuned into In Question. We are live at RT America headquarters in Washington, D.C. These are the top stories of the day. First, in a surprising turn, NATO's Secretary General says the alliance has no confidence that Russia will actually invade Ukraine. So what happens now? We'll get you a full report with analysis straight ahead. NATO's Secretary General has admitted that the military alliance has, quote, no confidence that Moscow will invade Ukraine. The statement comes despite months of the West pushing violent anti-Russia rhetoric, claiming that aggression by the Kremlin was imminent. Jens Stoltenberg made that startling U-turn at an Atlantic Council event.
Just after Jens Stoltenberg, we've had Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, speaking, saying that he also doesn't particularly see an immediate risk of a Russian invasion. And if you take the comments from Zelensky, from Stoltenberg, and put them alongside briefings that have been given to the media off the record in Brussels that have from NATO HQ that have suggested that there's really a want to get a de-escalation from the US side, that there wasn't really a unanimity amongst NATO members that the Russian troops in the west of Russia represented a potential invasion force at all, really, but that the United States is desperate for a de-escalation over this issue because they really want to switch focus over towards China. This is quite a significant switch of tack, though, because if you look at the way this message was put across in the last 2 months, well, it was put across very differently.
U.S. intelligence officials say Russia could invade Ukraine as soon as January.
And that's because of Russian troops that are massed on Ukraine's borders.
We're now at a stage where Russia could at any point launch an attack in Ukraine.
Russia is the aggressor here. We will not accept the campaign Russia is waging to subvert its democratic neighbors.
Well, Jens Stoltenberg also spoke an awful lot about the beefing up of NATO forces in the east of the alliance, either committing troops towards deployment in the east or troops being ready to deploy to the east. Now, also on Friday, it was confirmed by the Slovakian foreign minister that his country is in discussion with NATO for the stationing of troops in Slovakia. Slovakia does border Ukraine, but what was confirmed by Jens Stoltenberg on Friday also is that there's no plans to send NATO troops into Ukraine.
It's correct that we are not planning to deploy NATO combat troops to Ukraine.
And neither is the
That's
United
correct.
States.
Well, while there was also a lot of talk from Jens Stoltenberg about holding dialogue, holding meetings with Russia, particularly in the realm of arms control, it all came in the same day as we're hearing reports that there is a huge package of sanctions being prepared that could target Russia's energy sector and banking sectors as well. All of these things being set up in case of a Russian invasion. That invasion, of course, now seeming less and less likely, the messaging certainly changing quite dramatically on the potential of any type of military action coming in that sense.
All right, here to weigh in on this, our panel guest today, former UK MP George Galloway and David Goldman. He is an author and deputy editor at the Asia Times. George, to you first. Now, despite it sounding like NATO is kind of backtracking on their rhetoric, the lines are still being drawn by neighboring countries. The Belarusian president, Alexander Lukashenko, has just said today that he will not accept a NATO war with Russia, that he would send his men to join Russia in the fight and would gladly host Russian troops should a hot war break out. What do you say to those strong words from Lukashenko?
Well, I'm almost speechless about Stoltenberg's remarks, and it's not often I can say that. It's enough to make a horse laugh. The entire world has been turned upside down with an imminent, really imminent, since last December until yesterday, imminent Russian invasion of Ukraine, in which the head of NATO now has no confidence. But the battle lines are being drawn, as you say, and they're not to America's liking. One after the other of NATO countries have made clear that they don't accept the American thrust towards a military confrontation with Russia. Germany and France being the two most important ones. But Bulgaria, Croatia, Poland even added to that list.